Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm going to show you guys how to crochet this v-neck t-shirt, and as you can see here, this is going to be something that is very simple to do. I'm making a lot of projects that are for beginners or people who are comfortable making wearables, but very simple ones, not very intricate and complicated patterns. So this is for you guys. Yeah, so let's go ahead and see what we need and then go ahead and get started. For this project, you're going to need a yarn of your choice. In this case, I'm using this Joy DK. I will put all the information in the description box below. You're going to need a crochet hook size. I'm using 4.5mm crochet hook US. You're going to need some stitch markers. You're going to need a darning needle. You're going to need a scissors as well as a tape measure. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our back panel of this t-shirt. And the first thing we're going to do is we're gonna start with a slip knot so we can create our foundation chain. Okay, so after we do our slip knot, we're going to do a chain of 71 chains or stitches, chain stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is my chain of 71. And this is for the back panel, so this length here is for half of the circumference of your t-shirt. Okay, so we're gonna move on to the first row of this project. We're going to skip the first chain right here, right after the hook, and the second one, and in the third one we're going to do a double crochet stitch in the back of the third chain from the hook, just like so. Then we're going to move on to the next stitch in the back. We're going to do a double crochet stitch, and we're going to do that all the way to the end. So work your double crochet stitches in the back of the foundation chain until you reach the end of the chain, and when you get there we will move on to the second row together. So that is the end of the first row. And that is how your first row of the double crochet stitch should look like. Okay, so this is, like I said, half of the circumference of the t-shirt. And just to remind you guys, for those of you who are not familiar with what we're doing here, so the half of the circumference is going to determine how wide your t-shirt is going to be. So if you want your t-shirt to be a little bit on the loose side, you can either do more stitches than this. And if you want it to be more tight, then you decrease the number of stitches you start with. And I'm talking about the foundation chain. So this is what we're creating here. So I'm doing half of it here, and then the other half is going to be for the front panel. Okay, and I'm making a small, so just be aware of that as well. So to do our second row, I'm going to start with a chain of 2. So 1, 2, and turn. And in the very first, so this stitch right here, so the chain 2 here doesn't count as a stitch in this case. So the very first stitch here, we're going to do a double crochet, just like that. And then for this next stitch here, okay, we're going to do a front post double crochet, just like that. And then for this next stitch here, we're going to do a back post double crochet. Okay, so for those of you who are not familiar with back post or front post double crochet, you're pretty much yarning over and you're going around the double crochet from the previous row, and then grabbing your yarn and pulling it back, and you have your 3 loops on the hook. You yarn over, go through your first loop, 2 loops, and then yarn over, do the second, just like you would be doing a double crochet, but you're doing it by going around the previous double crochet stitch. And we're going to do a back loop now, so you yarn over and just go around like this, bring it back, okay, and then yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go through both loops that are left, and then we just repeat that where you're alternating front post double crochet and then back post double crochet. Okay, so you're going to do this until you get to the end of this row, and when you have reached there, I will meet you there so I can show you how to start the second row. See you guys there. So I've reached the end of the second row here. So I stopped so I can show you how to do the final stitch. So the last stitch that I did here was the back post double crochet, because this was the front post. The other one was the back post, and then we're going to do another double crochet. So this is the first chain 2 that we did from the previous, oh, actually it's the chain 2 that we skipped to start the first row. And so I'm going to go into the second stitch and do a double crochet there, and this is going to create a final stitch like that. Okay, all right, so I'm going to start the third row, but it's the second row of the back post front post double crochet. I'm going to do a chain of 2 and turn, and this is going to be, we're chaining 2 in every single beginning of each row here. Okay, and again for this here, so we're no longer doing the first double crochet right there. We're going right into doing a front post, and as you can see here, this is the front post or the back post of the previous row. In this case, it's now become a front post because it's facing us. So we're going to do a front post here, and if you flip your work to the other side, this was a front post from the previous row, and it's now going to become our back post double crochet. Okay, so we're going to do a front post right here, just like that, and our chain 2 here is counts as a stitch. It counts as the first double crochet, and then we do a front post double crochet for the second stitch, and then now we're going to go into the third stitch and do a back post double crochet, just like that, and then a front post. So you're pretty much matching them up here. So wherever you see these parts that protrudes, they become where we do our front post, and then the ones that are kind of like dented is where you do your back post double crochets. Okay, so this is an example here. We just go in the back and do our back post double crochet. In this one, you do a front post double crochet and then a back post for the next. And again, you continue to do this until you get to the end of the row. So this is how your work should look like. It looks like a waffle stitch. Well, it would be a waffle stitch if you're doing this. So you're going to do this until you get to the end of this row. And when you get to the end of this row, the last stitch that you're going to do will be a front post right here. And then you're going to do a double crochet in the second stitch from the bottom here. Okay, and then you're going to chain 2, turn your work, and you're going to repeat this pattern until you have 6 rows total. So it will be 5 rows of the front post back post double crochet plus the first row that we did that was all double crochets after the foundation chain. So altogether 6 rows, and then when you have those 6 rows completed, come back and I will show you how to move on to the next part of this project. Okay, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I have completed my 6 rows here. So as you can see, I have the first row here that was the double crochet row, and then I have 5 rows of the alternation between the front post double crochet and the back post double crochet, and that's what you should have so far. And this is the band of our t-shirt. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to start the next step, and we're going to do a chain of 2, and then we're going to turn our work. And in this stitch right here, so this chain 2 counts as a stitch, and so in this next stitch right here, we're going to do a double crochet stitch like that, and then you're going to move on to the next stitch and do a double crochet, and then in the next stitch a double crochet, and then so on and so forth. So you're going to do this all the way until you get to this end here. So do that. When you get to the end, I will show you how to start the second row of these double crochet stitches. Okay, see you guys at the end. Okay, so I've completed the first row of the double crochet stitch here. So as you can see, that's how it looks so far. And just as an FYI as well, at the end, you're going to go into that final, the chain 2 that we do at the beginning of each stitch. You're going to go into the second chain and do your double crochet so that your work looks even like that. Okay, and then for the second row, which is going to be our repeat row, we're going to chain 2 and turn. Okay, and then again, this counts as a stitch, so you're not going into this first stitch here. In the second one, you're going to do your double crochet and then move on to the next stitch and do your double crochet stitch, and then to the next stitch and do a double crochet. And again, this is a repeat row, and you're just repeating your double crochet stitches all the way to the end. When you get to the end, you chain 2, you turn, and you repeat until you have the length of your t-shirt. So in my case, I'm going to do 40 rows of the double crochet stitches. So as you know, I have already done the 6 rows here, and then I'm doing 40 rows of this, so I'm going to have a total of 46 rows. Okay, so do the number of rows that you require to get the length of your t-shirt. When you have that, then you come back to the video and I will show you guys how to move on to the next step of the project. Okay, so I will see you guys when you have the length of your t-shirt. Okay, so I have gone ahead and completed my 40 rows of the double crochet stitch here. So as you can see, this is where we started our project right here, and this is 6 rows total, and then we added another 40 rows in the just regular double crochet stitch. So that should be the length of one of your panels. Okay, so that's how it should look like. I measured mine, it's about 18 inches this way, and it's also 18 inches the other way. And keep in mind, this is just one panel, and now we're going to be working on the second panel. So for the second panel, you're going to start this exactly the same way, the exact same number of stitches at the beginning, and then you're going to do the same number of rows for this part of the project. And then what you will do is, because this is going to be a v-neck t-shirt, you're going to do 30 rows of the double crochet stitch. So you should stop somewhere around here, okay? Because when we get to the front panel, we're gonna be doing the v-neck right here like that, okay? So start the video over if you need to, but just make sure you're repeating everything the same. It's supposed to be identical panels in terms of the size, and then only do 30 rows of the double crochet stitch here. And then when you have 10 to go, that's when we're going to be creating our v-neck. So you have that to do. So go ahead and do that, and then come back when you have completed 30 rows of the double crochet stitch for the front panel, okay? And then I'll see you guys there so I can show you how to do the v-neck section. Okay, so I have gone ahead and done the part that I talked about previously for the second panel. Okay, so this is where I started the second panel here, and then I worked up my 30 stitches in the 30 rows in the double crochet stitch, plus the 6 rows that I had here at the beginning. So altogether I have 36 rows for the project so far, and this is for the front panel. And so I have put the stitch marker in the middle here. I have 35 stitches this way and 35 stitches this way. So this middle here is going to be where I start by making my v-neck, okay? And as you remember, by doing the first, from doing the first back panel, we had a total of 40 rows for this, the double crochet stitches plus the 6 rows that we started the project in the bottom here. We have 46 total. So we have 36 here, we have 10 more to do. So this v-neck here is going to be us doing the next 10 stitches that way. And when we hit the 10 rows, I should say, 10 rows, and when we have our 10 rows, then we stop so that we have the exact same number of rows for the back panel as we do for the front panel here, okay? So I hope I'm making sense. So I am going to go ahead now and show you guys how to start the v-neck. So I'm just gonna try to kind of zoom in here a little bit so you guys can see what I'm gonna be doing. Okay, and I will start one side for you, and then the other side you will be able to finish on your own. But to start the v-neck section, I'm going to pretty much do what we have been doing here, which is do the double crochets, chain 2, and then do double crochet stitches. So I'm just going to start by doing 1, 2, a chain of 2, and then I'm going to turn my work. Okay, and then I'm going to work my double crochet stitches all the way until I have 2 stitches to go, because we're going to start to reduce to create that v-neck in the middle. So for now, work your double crochet stitches until you have 2 stitches to go, not counting where your stitch marker is. And when you reach there, then I will show you guys how to do the reduction before we continue to turn and work the other way. Okay, so I'll see you guys when you have 2 stitches to go before the stitch marker here. Okay, so I have worked until I have the last 2 stitches to go. So this is where we're going to create our reduction now. Okay, and we have a stitch marker that we would leave here for now. So to do the reduction here, I'm going to yarn over, going to the next stitch. Okay, I have 3 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over, go into the next stitch. I have 5 loops. I'm going to go through the first 3 loops. I have 3 to go, and then I'm going to go through the next 3 loops that are left on the hook like that. Okay, so that is, I just reduced this by 1 stitch here. Okay, and then I'm going to chain 2 and turn. Okay, and then we're going to reduce again going that way. So right here, which is the next stitch, I'm going to go into it. I have 3 loops on the hook, yarn over again, go into the next stitch. I have 5, yarn over, go through the first 3 loops. I have 3, yarn over again and go through the remaining 3. Okay, so that's what I have done to reduce again, and then I'm just gonna go right into the next stitch and do my double crochet stitches going the other way. And I'm going to do this until I get to the end. When I get to the end, I chain 2, turn, and then work myself back to the center. So I'm going to only reduce in the center. We're not reducing on the edges, so don't do anything when you get to the ends. You just do the same as we've been doing with the remaining of with the 30 stitches that we just completed, or the 30 rows we just completed. And you're going to do this for the next 10 rows. So this is my second row that I'm working on now, and I have after I finish this, I have 8 more rows to do. Don't forget to reduce when you get to the center and when you're leaving the center. Okay, and you're going to do that until you have the 10 stitches completed, and then you're going to disconnect your yarn on this side, connect it to the other side here, and then you're going to start by just doing your regular double crochets until you have 2 stitches left before the stitch marker, and then you repeat what we just did here, which is to reduce the number of stitches that we have. Reduce the number reduce the number of stitches that we have on this side when we get in and also when we exit. Okay, and when you finish both sides, then you will come back and we will look at how our front panel looks like, and then I will show you guys how to create little sleeves for our t-shirt. Okay, so go ahead and finish working on the project on both sides to create your v-neck here for the next 10 rows on this side, 10 rows on this side. And when you have completed all of that, come back to the video and I will show you guys how to do the sleeves for the t-shirt, and yeah, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I've gone ahead and completed my front panel of our t-shirt here. So as you can see, this is all done. When I left you guys on starting one of the sides where we were going to be reducing to create our v-neck here. And then I had also asked you guys to go ahead and reconnect your yarn and finish the same thing on the other side, and that's what I've done here. I'm just going to talk about a little bit of a correction that I had to make. So it was supposed to be 10 rows after we start the v-neck here. We do 10 rows here to make it 40 total, 40 for the double crochet stitch that we did. I actually increased my my rows here by 4 rows, just because if I had just done 4 rows, it would have made my v-neck a little bit shorter like that, and I wanted to create a little bit of a deeper v-neck. So I just added 4 more rows at the end to make it a total of 44 rows for the double crochet stitch, and then we have the 6 rows that we did at the beginning. So altogether I have 50 rows here. And of course, because I increased the number of rows on the front panel, I had to do the same for the back panel. So I went ahead and reconnected my yarn and added 4 more rows to my back panel, because we need it to be the same for both panels. Okay, so just that correction that I made there. You don't have to do the same thing. So if you like your v-neck to not be as deep as I'm doing mine, and that would be the kind of like the size of your v-neck, then you leave it the way that I talked about previously. but if you want it deep like mine, then you would add more rows like that. Okay, so this is it here. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to do the sleeves. We're just gonna create a little bit of a sleeve section here that will match the bottom of our sweater. So we're using the same stitch for the sleeves, and we're going to do 2 of those, and then when we finish both, we will be able to connect our t-shirt together and have it ready. So let me show you guys how to do the sleeve portion. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and create our sleeve section here. So we're gonna start by doing a slip knot, and then we're going to do a chain of 61. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so I have my chain of 61 here. Okay, and now we're going to do the first row. Just quickly to explain this part of the project. So like I said, this is the sleeve. So when we fold this, this is going to be the size or the whole of your sleeve. So and it's going to be a short sleeve, obviously, because it's for a t-shirt. So you're going to make a chain that is going to correspond with the size of your arm. So if you have bigger arms, then maybe you want to do more chains. If you have a smaller arm, you may want to do smaller chains or less chains. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I'm making this t-shirt for me, and it's a size small. Okay, so this is for a size small if you're doing a size small t-shirt. Okay, all right, so let's move on to the next step. So we're going to do pretty much what we did with the 2 panels, the back and the front panel of the t-shirt. We're going to skip these 2 stitches here, and in the 3rd stitch we're going to go in the back and do a double crochet, and this is the back of the foundation chain. And then we're going to move on to the next stitch and do the same. So we're using the back of the foundation chain to do our double crochet stitches. And of course, like we did the other panels, you're going to do this until you get to the end of the chain, which is right here. And when you do that, we're going to move on to the next step together. So go ahead and complete working this pattern to the end of the chain. Okay, so I've gone to the end of the first row here and completed my double crochet stitches. Okay, so that's pretty much how it looks like. And then I'm going to start my second row. So I'm going to chain 2 and turn. And then in this very first stitch right here after the chain 1, I'm going to do after the chain 2, I'm going to do a double crochet stitch right there. Okay, just like that. And then so now this here is going on with that, and then I have this next stitch next to it, this one, and I'm going to do a front post double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to move on to the next stitch, which is above the double crochet from the previous row, and I'm going to do a back post double crochet, just like so. And then I'm going to repeat by doing a front post double crochet on the front side, and then back post double crochet on the next stitch, and you pretty much alternate this all the way to the end. Okay, so this is just very similar to what we did with our 2 panels, the back and the front panel. This is how we started the base of the t-shirt. So you're going to do the same thing that we did using this part of the project, and you're going to do 6 rows. So we have 1 row here completed, which is the double crochet stitch row, and then you're going to do 5 more of the alternation between the front post double crochet and the back post double crochet. And when you have your total 6 rows, you're going to come back to see how it looks like. And then we're going to go ahead and duplicate that by doing a second one for the second sleeve. And then when we have both, we will be ready to join our t-shirt together. And yeah, so we'll move on from there. Okay, so complete 6 rows total here, and then come back to the video so we can see how it looks like. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I've gone ahead and completed the 6 rows here for the sleeve. So as you can see, this is how it looks like. It's pretty much the same design as the base of our shirt. And so this is pretty much how it's going to join, and it's going to be part of our sleeve. So this is where the arm will go. Okay, so we have completed 1 sleeve. You go ahead and duplicate this by creating the second one. Okay, so just if you don't remember, just pause the video or rewind the video back to the beginning and rewatch it and recreate this exactly the same. And when you have two of these pieces or two of these panels, then come back, and then we will lay everything down so we can see how it looks like and where we're going to be joining it, and then of course join it and have it ready to be worn after it's joined. Okay, so go ahead and recreate this, the second piece, and then come back when you're done. Okay, so I've gone ahead and created my second sleeve. As you can see here, I have two pieces completed. They're exactly identical, okay? And so we're gonna be ready to put our pieces to the whole full body of the t-shirt and have it ready to be sewn together. Okay, so these are my two pieces here. I'm gonna take you guys to a bigger or wider surface where I can show you the full project and where we're gonna be joining and stuff like that. So you guys can see everything in its entirety, because right now my workstation is too small and I cannot show you guys everything in this small space. So I will take everything to a big surface and then I'll show you guys how it looks like and where we're gonna be joining. Okay, so see you guys when we get there. Okay, so I have laid the full project here. As you can see, this is how our t-shirt is going to look when it's all joined. So this is how the sleeves is going to go on. So as you can see, this is the sleeve here if you open it up, but you're gonna be joining it in like this. Okay, and then it's the same thing on the other side. So I put the stitch markers kind of just to mark the section where I would go from to join the sleeve. The same thing on this side. And of course, we're going to be joining it up here all the way to here. So this is where this portion of the sleeve ends, and on the other side as well. So this is easy to remember because it's just where it starts to the end. And then of course you're going to join it down the sides of your body as well. And when all of that is done, then your work is ready to be worn. Okay, so I'm going to lay it down in a way that is going to make it easy for you to join it together, and then I'm going to show you guys that, and then you can go ahead and join your work. So let me just go ahead and lay down the way I would join it. Okay, my lovelies, so I have laid it in the position that I'm gonna be sewing it together. So as you can see, I have my back panel here. It's the solid part of the the solid panel, and then I have the second panel, which is the front panel, and that's the one that has the V. And then of course I have my sleeves on the sides like this. So the reason I'm laying it down like this is because it's easy to join it. So what I will do is I will pretty much take my darning needle and join this, and join this section from here to here. And then I'm going to repeat the same thing from here to here. So this part will be joined like that, okay? And then when that's done, I'm going to join the sleeve to the body. So it's going to go all the way down like this, and it's going to go all the way down like this. And then when that's done, I'm going to fold it in a half, and then join this portion here from here to here, to this side from here to there, and then of course that side from where the sleeve ends to the bottom will be joined to this side from here to here. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense, but this is the best way that will help you join it very easily. So go ahead and do the joining, and when you have that completed, we're gonna look at our work when it's all done. Okay, so see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed putting my top together. So all the 4 panels have been joined, and this is the wholesome top done t-shirt, or you can call it short sleeve shirt, whatever you want to call it, v-neck short sleeve shirt, but it's pretty much done here. So this is ready to be worn. So I hope you guys had a lot of fun making this simple project with me. Thank you so much again for watching the video to the end. I will remind you guys to go check out the channel. It's called Simply Angel Tea, and this is where you're watching this video from. Check it out, see all the playlists that I have, and see if you may like some things that I have done in the past. And of course, if you like what you see, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. But don't forget to like this video if you like it. Don't forget to ask any questions in the comment section below, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.